Hiya, I'm Caroline Mitchell, Canine behaviourist at Good Doggy. And today I want to talk a bit about breaking habits. Just like us, dogs form habits of their behaviour. When a behaviour is repeated enough, then it becomes a habit. The more we practice the same things over and over and over again, the more habitual they become, until eventually they'll become a point where we hardly even know that we're doing it. So people that chew their nails or suck their hair, things like that, these are all habits. These are all behaviours that have been repeated again and again and again, and they've become automatic now. So we don't think about what we're doing when we're doing them. Our habits are important. They started for a reason. They started because they fulfill a need. I discussed needs in the last video, so go back and have a look at that if you want to know more about the kind of underlying needs. But a thing like chewing the hair or chewing your nails, there could be an anxiety underneath all of that that's kind of started that. But check that video out and you'll find out a bit more about needs and how important they are when it comes to creating behaviour and changing behaviour. But we are talking about habits today, and any behaviour can be a habit. Reactive defensively can become a habit. Food guarding can become a habit. You know, we can, when somebody comes into the room when you're eating or your dog's eating, they can instinctually guard that food. They can react in a certain way that has become a habit. The more they've done it, the more habitual it has become. Mouthing at your clothing or peeing in a certain place, all of these things can become habits. And the more habitual they become, the less thought that is needed. They just happen. So once you've fulfilled the need, then you can start working on changing that kind of habitual behaviour. And I'm going to talk more about how to do that just now. So solving habits is not a simple process. You can't just teach a dog a new behaviour and then check that box and say you're done. Our habits are much, much more complex than that. We know that they're made up of behaviours that most of the time we don't even know we're doing. They are automatic, so they become very hard to resist because actually a lot of the time you don't even know you're doing it. And our dogs are the same. They're not thinking about this stuff. They're not making plans. They are automatic behaviours. They're default behaviours that have become ingrained. So we're not just going to be able to switch those off. We can't just teach them a new trick and expect that that is going to be the end of that. It takes a lot of effort. So we need to start off by doing something that prevents the habit from occurring. So maybe your dog's chasing the tail. Once you've solved the need, the underlying cause of the tail chasing, now we're working on the habit. So we want to stop them from chasing their tail initially. So we need to help them to do something different. So in this picture here, we have a set of scales. On one side of the scales is the old behaviour. That's the default, the habit that your dog has up until now always defaulted to. And on the other side of the scales is our new behaviour, which up until this moment, your dog has never done in this exact situation. So let's just say that, for example, a passerby has come past your house twice a day for 6 months and your dog has barked at them, right? So that means they have barked at that passerby 360 times. So this is a powerful habit. And every time they've barked at that passerby, it has made them feel good. It has fulfilled the need. It's made them feel safe. They feel like they've achieved something. Okay. So this habit is really powerful. We are not going to solve that by just teaching them a quiet command in 10 minutes. It's never going to happen. So we are going to start by teaching them a new behaviour. So maybe we teach them a look at me or a quiet command, go to place, set, something like that. Remember our set of scales, 360 times, 360 repetitions on one side of the scales. That's heavy on that set of scales. So we have to stop them doing what they always did, one way or another. Obviously, we're going to do this in a nice way. So if your dog is barking at the window, maybe we put something across the window so they can't see out. Maybe we have them on a lead so they can't get to the window. Perhaps if your dog is pulling on the lead, as soon as the lead go tight, we stop moving to stop that behaviour dead in its tracks. So we stop them doing what they always did. Now, we can't always explain to them exactly what we want them to do. They're not a child. They don't speak English. We can't explain them and spell it out. We can't draw diagrams for them and say, well, when this happens in the future, I want you to do this. We can guide them a bit. We can teach them new cues. But ultimately, when they become into a very emotional state, they're not really thinking in a normal, straightforward kind of way. So that emotion is going to be massively driving their new behaviour right now. So often you have to wait for quite a while until that emotion has started to drain out and they start to try new things. And as soon as they do something that you want, then you reward it really, really fast. If you're too slow, he won't be able to connect the reward with the behaviour that you want. So, for example, when you're doing loose lead training, if you've stood for 5 minutes with that lead tight, the second the lead goes loose, if in your mind you go, oh good, the lead's gone loose, Caroline told me now I have to start walking, that took you 2 seconds to say it. By the time you start moving, the dog has not been able to connect. You're moving forward with the loose lead. Other things will have happened in that time space, and he will have to keep thinking, what is it that went right? So he didn't learn anything that time, so you'll have to do it again. And if you're very slow on the next one, or you go, maybe a bit too fast, actually, perhaps he wasn't quite ready to go, you thought he was, you were a bit quick off the mark. So getting that timing right is really, really important. And if you want to know about timing and how this kind of process works, then I definitely urge you to look up an episode of Taskmaster. I'll pop a wee link in for that, probably in the description. It's a brilliant video. So basically, Taskmaster is a comedy TV show. There are celebrities that are on it, and they are given different challenges and tasks to do, and they are judged against each other as teams or as individuals. And it's such a funny show. I would urge anybody that loves that kind of thing to watch it because it's so brilliant. But this specific episode, and I'll link to it, is an episode where the celebrities are tasked to score 11 points. That's all. That's what they're told to do. They're introduced into a squash court environment, and there's stuff in there. There's tennis rackets, there's plant there, a little table. There's, I think there's some cupcakes, some food, a bucket. They've been given no instructions whatsoever. All they've been told is they have to score 11 points. And this is basically how your dog feels when you start doing training with them. That very first day that you get a treat in your hand and you're asking your very brand new puppy to sit in front of you, this is exactly how he feels. He has no idea what you want. There are so many options in your living room. There's stuff everywhere. You're there. There are so many options. He could jump up at you. He could chew the carpet. He could have a pee. He could scratch his ear. So he has no idea. And this is what the celebrities are doing. So they're picking stuff up. They're touching things. They're throwing things. They're smashing up cupcakes. They're shouting at each other. They're saying words they think might be key words. And every now and then they notice that there's a counter in the corner of the room and it changes. So it started off obviously at 0, and every now and then another point was added, and they had to try and figure out what it was that they had been doing in those moments in order to score those points. And it was chaos. So they only had to score 11 points. Some things took points away, some things added them on. I'll not spoil it if you want to go and look at the video. But they had to get to 11 points. And once they had done, they'd won. And I will tell you that the celebrities, they really, really struggled with this. They could not figure out this code. And they couldn't figure out what it was that they were supposed to be doing. What was it that added a point? And this is how our dogs learn. They have to figure out this code as well. So they try things, they could try all different kinds of things. Eventually, one day they might sit and we go, yay, good boy, Barney, here's a treat. And after he's done it like 3 times, they're all pure accident. But he can start to kind of build up a picture of what it was that he did that earned him the reward. What behavior did he do that triggered us to give him something he liked and to give him that kind of woohoo, kind of rewarding sound and all those encouraging words. So this is your dog's life now. Every time we try and teach them something new, they're faced with a million options, and they just have to keep trying stuff until eventually they get it right. And if we're good enough at what we're doing, we'll time it perfectly. We'll be paying attention, we'll be watching, and we'll get that reward to them ASAP. So they can easily repeat what they just did and get the same result again. But if we're too slow, then they'll not be sure what it was exactly that they were doing that was correct in the first place. This is also another reason why it doesn't help when we reward them for close enough kind of attempts. When we go, oh, they were nearly there, it was nearly a good set, you know, his bum was nearly on the floor, he tried. That doesn't help him because he's trying to figure out exactly what a sit is at this stage. And so now he's going, okay, so half in the air and half not in the air is a sit. And then he'll start to do that a lot. And if you're always going, oh, well, that's fine, it's a near enough approach, eventually he just thinks that this kind of weird half in the air sit is actually a sit. But that's not what you were looking for. And if that's the kind of route you go on, that's all the best that he'll ever do. But this is why it's important at this stage, when we've stopped them doing one habit behavior and we want them to try something different, that we have to be super, super precise and fast with our rewards. Clicker training is a brilliant way to do this. Also, reward markers are a brilliant way to do this. I've got a ton of videos on that, so check those out if you want something really precise that will get you there even faster. But the faster you are basically to reward the right thing, the quicker your dog will be able to go, that caused you to do that, so therefore I'll do it again. So that's basically the start of your new behavior. But you're not there yet. Even after quite a few repetitions, your dog still may not be precisely clear about what it is you want. And even if he is clear, it's not a habit yet. Remember, he's done this last behavior. He barked at that window 360 times. Even a 5-minute session every day for a week is not going to break that habit. We need to keep reminding him. We need to help him resist that old behavior. That old habit is always there. It's an easier option for him. He knows it works. It makes him feel good. So he's always going to prefer that at the moment. We need to keep reinforcing, keep reminding, keep helping so that he can get this right every single time until those scales that I showed you earlier start to tip back into your favor. Once they have fully tipped over the other way, your behavior, your chosen behavior, the one that you've been rewarding your dog for all this time, has now become the default behavior. So this is now the behavior that he will choose. This is now the easiest behavior. It's the one that is most recent. It's the one that he's best at. He's practiced it a lot. And by now he'll realize also that it achieves what he wants as well. So that's important too. Check out the video on why dogs do what they do, because that really explains that whole sense of achievement really, really well. So that's a good video to watch after this one as well. So the new behavior will achieve what he wants to achieve. If he's barking at somebody going by, then barking made them go away, but also not barking had the same result. So that will work for him brilliantly. And this then becomes his new default behavior. So when the trigger happens, the person appears at the window or near the window, he'll immediately go, oh, I don't need to bark at that, I'll just ignore it. And the person will go on, he'll feel good, and he didn't need to do anything at all. But that will not become a habit until he's practiced it so many times that this is his personal choice behavior. And this is the point in which a lot of training goes wrong. We've solved the need, we've created a new behavior, but we never saw it through far enough that the new behavior became the behavior of choice. This is just like learning to play a piano. When we start to teach our dog a new behavior, we can play the song on the piano. We have to really concentrate. We go one note at a time, takes us forever, but we get to the end of the song. But we are not a piano player. We don't play that piano song well. We can't just play it and it's not good. We need to practice and practice and practice. And as we do, we think less and less and less about what we're doing. And we allow that song that we're playing on the piano to just flow. Our fingers instinctively know what to do. They know how to behave. There's much less of a thought process. We don't have to figure each note out one at a time. Our eyes just glance across the music and the fingers do what they need to do. And it just happens and it's beautiful. But it takes a lot of practice to get to that. And it takes a lot of practice to get your dog to change his habit too. So don't give up. Once you've got something working and it's starting to happen for you, don't give up too quickly. You just need to make it into a new habit. I hope that's been useful for you. Let me know in the comments what you thought. and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now. Bye bye.